Hello and welcome everybody to another Tuesday afternoon program with the Genealogy Center. I am super excited to have our speaker today, Ginger Brickey, from the Jefferson County, Missouri Public Library. It's going to be a great time, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about today's speaker. So Ginger is a senior genealogist and resident cemetery expert at the Jefferson County Library in Missouri in the Genealogy and Local History Department at the Northwest Branch. Before joining the staff in 2018, Ginger used the collection regularly for her own research, and since she moved to the area in 2006. So for those of you who might not be aware, the special collections of the Jefferson County Library include an extensive catalog, free access to databases, and really knowledgeable, awesome staff who can assist you on all levels of research. I am particularly excited about Ginger's program because we at the Genealogy Center are always telling you guys, go to where the resources are. We might not have everything. Talk to those local experts, talk to those local librarians. They might know where the things are, which is what Ginger's going to talk to you a little bit about today.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being here. My name is Ginger Brickey. I work in the Genealogy and Local History Department here at the Jefferson County Library. We are located about 25 minutes south of St. Louis City. And we're an affiliate library through Family Search. And so with those records we have access to and our extensive in-house collection and archives, we can provide materials and assistance in person and remotely. So even though we are a county library and we do serve our patrons, we welcome and regularly assist researchers outside of our area. So we've had researchers from all around the world that we've helped with their family history. So I'm excited to see. I've been seeing the little chat messages pop up of where everyone's from, and it's so exciting to think that there may be resources here in my library that could solve a brick wall for you. So please be sure to reach out if there's something that I can help you with. So today I'm going to share with you some of the helpful resources that we have available throughout the state. And while I was kind of doing my research on these programs that have been presented previous to this one, I noticed on the Allen County Genealogy Center's YouTube channel that I saw a familiar name. From the Missouri State Archives, Mr. John Dugan, and he is our state archivist. And he presented a program back in February, I believe, that went extensively into their vast collection of records. And so if there's something on a state level that you're particularly interested in, I would definitely recommend going back and watching that video. He does a great job at presenting that information. So anyway, let's get started. I'm covering a broad scope of options for your research all over Missouri. There are 114 counties in this state. There were 5 that were established before Missouri's statehood in 1821. And all of these were along the Mississippi River on the eastern border. The county borders changed throughout the years between 1804 and 1889 as the state grew in population to the west. Those counties became more established with their boundaries. And so up until about 1889, those boundaries were always fluctuating and changing. Something to keep in mind as you're looking for records in a specific county, especially with census records or marriage records, you may have to look in a neighboring county for that information if those borders had changed. So St. Louis, you're going to find right above that blue arrow. You can see that it's divided into two parts. There's St. Louis City proper, and then in yellow it says St. Louis as well. That is St. Louis County. So this is one of the confusing things about the eastern side of the state, is that St. Louis is broken into two parts. So it's St. Louis City and St. Louis County. So St. Louis you're going to find on that eastern border. On the western border, you'll find Kansas City, and that's going to be in Jackson County. Now, another thing confusing with that side of the state is we have Kansas City, Missouri, and then right across the border into Kansas is Kansas City, Kansas. So keep those things in mind as you're looking at records in either of those locations. And of course, right in the middle of the state in Cole County is Jefferson City. Jefferson City is our state capital. It's also home to the Missouri State Archives and the State Library. And so this is where you're going to find a lot of the birth and death and vital records, land records. They've amassed an extensive collection there. Columbia, Missouri houses our State Historical Society, one of their several locations, the largest being in Columbia, Missouri. You're going to find that in the center of the state as well. And of course, I am located where the blue arrow is pointing at the northern tip of Jefferson County. So this is where I am. My home base is the Della Lang room, the Genealogy and Local History room at Jefferson County Library. And we provide researchers with local history and genealogical resources. We also provide state level and national coverage along with our Canada, military, and Native American collections. You're welcome to access these collections in person or remotely. We have county records and newspapers on microfilm going back to 1818 to present time. These include probate records, naturalization records, marriages. The county states Canada, military, and Native American collections. So we're not just Jefferson County. We also cover all of the other counties in Missouri, as well as all of the other states in the country. And then we have our Canada and military and Native American collections. We also have a digital database of our archives available online at jeffcolib.pastperfectonline.com. So let's start with vital records. Births, deaths, adoptions, marriages, and divorces can vary by county depending on several factors. What year the county was organized, if the event predates mandatory record-keeping legislation, and of course the dreaded courthouse catastrophes, whether it's flooding or fire. Birth and death records were not required by the state until 1910. The State Archives website provides a pre-1910 searchable database with most county records starting in the early 1880s. You can also find death records for 1910 to 1971 in PDF format throughout the website, and the database is searchable. Some genealogy centers have microfilmed records available to view in person or remotely through a research request. If you're able to narrow down a county in your search, you are likely to find a historical or genealogy society or a library that can provide location-specific records. We are really spoiled in this state, I will admit that. We have a huge collection of death certificates online in PDF format. You'll see an example here with the information that's provided on it. This format is let's see, she died in 1957. So this is going to look a little bit different than the earlier certificates, but a lot of them include the same amount of information. The mandatory recording for marriages was in 1821, and they were with the state collecting from each county starting in 1881. So the county clerks were recording the marriages beginning in 1821, and then they started sending them to the state in 1881. Again, very county specific due to individual record keeping and the chances of catastrophe where those records were stored. There are also digitized indexes that start in 1750. Other options that you can check for if you're not able to locate the actual birth, death, marriage record, you can check newspapers. Newspapers are one of my favorite resources. These can provide notices of death, notices of the purchase of a marriage license. They can announce a birth, and of course obituaries, which would include a place of burial. So newspapers, we just had our state library digitized a large collection of Jefferson County newspapers going back to 1868. And those are available now through the state library website and through newspapers.com. There's a newspaper digitization project that's happening here, and every year they receive grant funding to digitize the newspapers in specific counties. And so if you visit the Missouri State Library website, you can research that Missouri digitization or the newspaper digitization project and see what counties have been covered so far. It is an ongoing project, and we were very pleased when they reached Jefferson County for that. Now, there are other Jefferson County newspapers that were not included in the digitizing. And if you visit the library's website, jeffcolive.org, and look under the Genealogy and Local History tab, you'll find our newspapers collection. We have several newspapers that are only available on microfilm, indexed through our newspaper index database. Church records and family Bibles can provide an alternative source of births, baptisms, marriages, and places of residence predating state requirements. This can often require remote assistance or in-person digging to locate. Some family search church records go back to the 1820s. Check on a county level for transcriptions. Many of the church ledgers that we have in our collection that have been transcribed have not been digitized. And so the only way to know that they exist is to see them on our shelves or in the stacks. So on a county by county basis, if you know the county that you're looking at, I will tell you a lot of the counties along any of the rivers. So we've got the Missouri River that splits the state in half, and then we have the Mississippi that runs down our eastern border. A lot of the counties along these two rivers have really helpful genealogy societies or historical societies that hold a collection of transcribed records. And so if it's in a county that you're doing your own research, reach out to those people and those places, and I almost guarantee that they will have something that you're looking for or something that will be helpful to you. Cemetery records, the transcriptions can be the one source that connects the dots between an elusive ancestor and your documented tree. More cemeteries are opting to digitize their records, but when it comes to locating burials in remote family cemeteries, which is usually where they are, we must rely on the record keeping of the researchers who came before us. Our collection holds shelves upon shelves of spiral bound booklets with pages full of tombstone transcriptions. The researchers who did all of the hard work before we came into the digital age, and they were out there trekking through the woods and finding these forgotten family cemeteries and locating headstones and transcribing that information so that we would have a record of that. Priceless information. Of course, you also have places like Find a Grave and the Missouri Tombstone Project, which is another great source for Missouri cemeteries. The federal census records for Missouri start in 1830. Due to the loss of years 1810 and 1820. In addition to these, non-population schedules are available beginning in 1850 that cover agriculture, mortality, slave ownership, and veterans. The territorial census, beginning in 1752, which I believe, I want to say St. Charles has a territorial census dating earlier than that, but don't quote me. No, you know what? I think they're in early 1800s. Never mind. And then, of course, we have the agriculture schedules, which are some of my favorites, from 1850 to 1880. And these are the census of all the farms. Generally, the rule was you had to produce $100 or more of product that you were selling. But in some cases, they bypassed that rule and recorded all of the farms in the area. So if you have an ancestor who was in Missouri during those years, who had farmland, that would be a great resource to check. And those agriculture schedules, again, are available online through the Missouri State Archives if you are not available to come and research in person. With early land records in Missouri, we have French and Spanish land grants. Beginning in the 1770s, these records are the earliest documented claims predating U.S. ownership of the Louisiana Purchase. By 1818, the land was being surveyed and divided into townships, ranges, and sections. Original land patents and indexes can be obtained through the National Archives or through various digital collections online. You'll see on the township map shown here that the early land surveys do not follow the same pattern as the sections platted out later. So you'll see the arrows point to those odd squares that just seem completely out of place. You'll notice on each one of them, they say survey 664 or 1331. These would have been part of the original French and Spanish land grant. Missouri research tips. Start at a state level and work down through county and municipality organizations. So like I said, the Missouri State Archives, we really are spoiled here to have such an incredible resource, especially with all of their digitized content. And of course, the state library as well, and the State Historical Society. Starting with these resources and filling in holes with that that you're not able to find at county or municipality levels. So county historical societies or things like my collection here with the library, where we focus on a specific area, can kind of work in tandem with each other. We're filling in holes from the state level documents and finding the tidbits in the smaller collections as well. Many of the large-scale research centers in Missouri provide a wide range of tools for your search. We have the several that are collected in the center of the state, but then we also have the St. Louis County headquarters, the library headquarters, which houses their massive genealogy collection. And then we have on the Kansas City side of the state, in Independence, we have the Mid-Continent Library that has a large collection as well. Be sure to pay close attention to boundary lines and places names. Several counties and towns share a name with those in our bordering states like Kansas City, Missouri, and Kansas City, Kansas. But we also have O'Fallon, Missouri, and O'Fallon, Illinois. We share a lot of the same county names with our neighbors, so it can get really confusing. And don't give up if the record you need hasn't been digitized. Most of the repositories in the state are more than happy to make copies of any of our non-digitized materials and send it to you that way. I wanted to provide you with a list of resources of where you can look. And I'm going to leave this up for a little longer, just so if you want to make notes on any of these places. Of course, the top one is my library here at jeffcolib.org. You'll go to the Genealogy and Local History tab, and you'll find all of our resources available through here. The St. Louis County Library History and Genealogy Center, they're in the process of building a new location, a new building. And so their genealogy collection is a bit spread out and in storage right now, but when they come back together, it's going to be better than ever, I'm sure. The Midwest Genealogy Center, which is the one I mentioned at Mid-Continent Library in Independence, that'll be on the western border of the state. The State Historical Society of Missouri. The Missouri Digital Heritage or Missouri State Archives at sos.mo.gov. The Missouri State Genealogical Society, which is located in Cape Girardeau, which is about 40 minutes south of where I'm located. The National Archives and Records Administration, these are going to be your military records. So if any of you access military records through Fold 3, they most likely came from NARA. And we're very fortunate to be home to a NARA collection in just north of St. Louis. The Missouri Department of Health and Senior Services, this is going to be your Bureau of Vital Records, where you can obtain birth and death records. And the Family Search Wiki for Missouri is going to have lots of links and data about the state through its history. We did just celebrate our bicentennial last year, so that was exciting. And the Missouri online genealogy records that are available through Family Search as well. And Cindy's List, which is just always such an incredible website to visit when you're having trouble finding where to go. She has a page for Missouri resources. I blazed through those pretty quickly, but I know that there's a lot of information that I left out in this program, and I expect that I can spend more time answering questions or just providing information. It's nicer for me to provide information as needed instead of providing you with information that you already have. So I very much welcome questions or comments or stories about maybe your research trips to Missouri. I would love to hear those.
And I hope all of you have a great day. And thank you again, Ginger.
Thank you for having me, and thank you all for being here.
All right. Well, enjoy the rest of your day.
You too.
Bye.